So obviously this CAS scandal has caused like ripples around the world basically, and is being used to justify taking healthcare away from innocent children. And loads of countries are speaking out about it. So in the last like few weeks worth of this show, we've covered how France and Australia and Spain and a bunch of other countries, most recently Poland, have all done their own internal reviews of trans healthcare, and they've come to the opposite conclusion of the CAS review because they put actual experts on it, and all of them have criticised the CAS review and said it's a load of rubbish. And we've got another one to look at in a minute. But first, one of the like compromises of the CAS review to make it not look like a total sham was that they said they were going to start a new study into healthcare for trans kids. Another one, they will, whether they run it or not, who knows, and whether it will be run by a load of transphobic dickheads who mess up the data on purpose, who knows. I have absolutely no faith in it at all. However, the idea of doing another study is, on its own, in a vacuum, not inherently bad. They could have done that without what they've actually done, or that they're doing this study to try and make it look like, oh yeah, we care about this. What they've actually done is banned healthcare for these innocent children, and then just done nothing for a bit. Like, if they do a study, it will be at the end of this year, start of next year, just a whole year where you just take away healthcare from children for absolutely no reason at all, completely unjustifiable. But what that has done, obviously, is it gives the quacks and extremists and gender criticals time to try and oppose the study even running at all. So this guy, David Bell, who's never actually worked with trans kids, is a complete quack. He's saying, it's beggars belief that after the CAS review, we would even consider a clinical trial of puberty blockers. Actually, the CAS review's main thing is it recommends a trial of puberty blockers. So when you say after the CAS review, you mean despite the CAS review. I mean, like, even the CAS review, even as terrible and like fraudulent basically that it is, it as much of a like scandal failure of its duty it is. A whole thing was set up. The Conservative government handpicked Dr. Cass, 1 out of 1, a non-expert in the area, specifically someone with gender critical sympathies, to do this like fake review where she threw out 99% of the evidence. Even that still recommended doing some more studies, because how could it not? Like, its main argument is there's not enough data to justify this. So how could it conclude, therefore, we shouldn't get any data on this? It can't, because it's complete nonsense. But that doesn't stop the gender criticals from arguing that, because very transparently, they don't want anyone to transition. They don't want more data on this, because they know if you actually did a study on this that passed through like peer review and the wider scientific medical community decided was like worthwhile, then they know it's going to show that trans healthcare is beneficial for trans kids. They already know, like, all of them know this. They already know they're lying. Like, when they say, oh, there's not enough evidence, it's not like, oh, we've got 10 pieces of evidence and 5 of them are like pro-trans healthcare and 5 of them are anti-trans healthcare, so it's hard to say. It's like, we have like 1,000 bits of evidence and 997 of them say that trans healthcare is beneficial in their small study that they've done, and 3 of them are like inconclusive or whatever. It's like we were saying earlier about the sports science. It's like, it's very hard to do one big study which encompasses everything and gives you one final conclusion. You can only ever do these like little studies that add up into a big patchwork and show like the bigger picture. And this new study, at best, will just be another one of those, and they know what it's going to show. Like, we know what it's going to show. The gender criticals know all the same things that we do. They just believe it's morally bad to be trans. So, of course, this fucking loser is trying to ban the study. But yeah, it's just utterly pathetic. Like, it's ridiculous that this person is treated with any credibility at all. The only reason he's treated with credibility at all is because he is Dr. David Bell and he is gender critical, and so the media will just platform anything he says without any fact checking or anything at all. I have witnessed firsthand the grave dangers posed by the rush to medicalize childhood gender distress. He hasn't actually worked with trans kids, by the way. So former psychiatrist, so not an endocrinologist, not an expert. But yeah, he's an anti-trans activist and a dickhead and loser. But the gender critical movement is always going to say that there's not enough evidence for anything to do with trans people, sports, healthcare, like inclusion in society. They will always say there's not enough evidence. Like, even if you had a trillion piece of evidence, they would say that was not enough. Even if a study was of 7 billion people on Earth, they would say it wasn't 8 billion, so it wasn't enough. But they will always fight against having more data because they know what the data is going to show. And like, that is how you tell. Like, if you approach a new topic and someone is saying to you, hey, you don't understand anything about this topic and I do, and I'm telling you there is not enough data to draw a conclusion. If they then say, so that's where we need to get more data and I'm pushing for us to get more data, you should be like, oh, okay, well, at least that adds up. They might still be wrong, but there's nothing contradictory in the two things they've said there. If they say there is not enough data, we can't come to a conclusion, and I am also like hardline opposed to the getting any more data, then surely that's sus, right? Surely you'd be like, wait, what? What? You don't think there's enough data, but also you don't want more data. Suspicious.